So shout out to everyone under my Derrick Jaxn video who told me about his wife, Danae Jaxns' Instagram posts about hating her daughter's dark skin, as well as just obsessing over the dark skin of some of the women Derrick cheated on her with. Clearly, I didn't look through her Instagram long enough or watch enough videos, but I'm kind of glad it happened this way so I can make a separate video on it. And if you want to know how I feel about the cheating part in detail, just watch the video before this. I'm not going to get into that again. In this video, I want to specifically talk about these Instagram posts. And you guys, I didn't realize it was this bad. Apparently, Danae was abused as a child, and she talks about that a lot on her Instagram. So I'm kind of getting a better understanding of why she kind of turned to Christianity to cope. She said at one point during her marriage, she was actually having homicidal thoughts. And I will put the post on the screen and you guys can read them. I'm not going to read them in full. And look, this is bad, but it's not coming from a place of judgment. That's not the reason for this video. I'm not trying to diagnose her. We all have some kind of issues that we're working through. Many women have suffered through similar trauma or just trauma of some sort. So this is not me trying to be one of those fake YouTube doctors that, diagnoses everybody with narcissism or mental illness. Because let's be real, a lot of y'all diagnosing people are probably mentally ill yourselves. So this is certainly not that kind of video. This is just me analyzing and giving my personal breakdown and my personal opinion on what was written by Danae. And so I was under the impression that Derrick cheated 2 or 3 times maybe. But after reading these posts, I'm seeing that he actually is a serial cheater. And I'm not shocked by this, but I was just unaware of that. Again, maybe I just didn't watch enough content. Maybe I didn't watch the videos that I did watch long enough. Y'all know my attention span is short, okay? But I just want to modify something that I said in the previous video about Derrick Jaxn possibly cheating with his preference for mixed women, because based on Danae's posts, as well as the women who exposed him, it does appear that he was cheating with women of all shades. So I can't say that he's colorist. I don't know if he discriminates based on color, but his wife particularly had an issue with his dark-skinned mistresses. And she also admitted to once hating her daughter's dark skin. So in this post where she mentioned her daughter's dark skin, she says, "The exquisite work of art you see here, let me tell you, behind it was nothing short of hateful, bitter, resentful, detestable, shady, and murderous thoughts. I mean, the word is truth when it states, a man think in his heart, so is he. Hatred consumed me. I hated my body, skin, personality, clothes, my own daughter's dark skin, and men, just to name a few." And she goes on to talk about all of the things she experienced with her father. You can read it for yourself. Talking about voluntarily sharing a man, I'm assuming her husband, talking about how she was cheated on and all that stuff. And in this post, she writes about body issues and mentioning a dark-skinned woman as well. And she says, "A woman who attended college with me, dark-skinned, well-known, successful, and just so happened to be someone I've seen naked, penetrated, soaking, moaning, and more." And she talks about how she hated the woman, but she wanted to be like her. She talks about how she knew her bra size, her waist size, how she tried to imitate her and it backfired. She talks about jealousy and rage. And she says here, "Daily, these thoughts screamed at me. You'll never have what she has. You don't fit the profile. She's dark-skinned perfection. You're not. He'll always choose her over you." And she talks about how this woman is more successful than her. Basically how, she looks better naked than she does. Just talking about the body issues that she has. And what I gathered from some of that is that maybe she slept with this dark-skinned woman with her husband. I'm not sure. She said she saw her getting penetrated. So I don't know what that means, but that's what it sounds like to me. Or I don't know, maybe she slept with her. I'm not sure. I'm just assuming here. And in this one, she mentions obsessing over the dark-skinned mistress. And she says, "I would get my face beat by the best makeup artist I visit, women's pages that he liked, commented back to, and had prior flings with, and obsessed over how they did their hair, how they dressed, how they spoke, the interests they had, and tried to mimic aspects of them to quote unquote keep his attention. And the only thing I couldn't mimic to perfection is being the perfection of having dark, supple skin." And then she talks about, the Holy Spirit and Christ, who sustains her esteem and confidence and all that stuff. And she talks about how she overcame. And in this post, she mentions her husband's dark-skinned female, quote unquote, friends. And she says, unfortunately, for over a decade, I was unaware of the gates that were open to the enemy with the things my eyes had seen. Videos, pictures, and so on of the women I knew, women I didn't know, women who were quote unquote friends, dark-skinned women. And she talks about how she saw videos of women in sexual acts and how she would study these women and focus on their bodily fluid during penetration. And she was telling herself, you don't secrete like this, and that's why he doesn't want you. And then she goes on to talk about how, again, the Holy Spirit delivered her from the obsession of comparison and all that stuff. And I don't know, Homegirl's a pretty good writer. I wouldn't be surprised if, she came out with the book in a few months or so and sold it to y'all. I could see her doing that. Like I was talking about in the last video about how they're going to rebrand and, switch up this whole thing for Derrick's image and his platform. Now, in terms of the post, I do think that women with cheating spouses compare themselves to their husbands' mistresses all the time. So I don't think that is necessarily out of the ordinary. But it's clear that Derrick wasn't only cheating with dark-skinned women. We saw that on Tasha K's video. And if he's a serial cheater, I'm sure it probably didn't matter to him. He was just cheating with any and everyone, right? But dark-skinned women in particular are the women she compared herself to the most. Not the light-skinned women he cheated with, not the mixed-race women he cheated with, okay? And Danae does not appear to be light-skinned to me. I would consider her to be brown-skinned or in the middle in terms of complexion. I think maybe in some areas she would be considered maybe light brown skin. So I'm guessing the women she's referring to were significantly darker than her. And based on these posts, I am sensing that she already had an internal bias against dark-skinned women, and Derrick cheating with them simply amplified that. Because I just don't see you hating your daughter's dark skin because your husband slept with dark-skinned women. That usually stems from internalized colorism that is already there. And I know some people are going to say, oh, well, she's just crazy, she's just mentally ill or whatever, which may be true. Again, I'm not sure. But she can also be colorist as well. Those things are not mutually exclusive, okay? And I really wanted to talk about this because when we talk about swirling and dark-skinned women pairing with white men or non-black men, there's always the argument, well, how are you going to create the same type of light-skinned woman that you have a problem with? But the people making that argument never bring up all of these light-skinned women or brown-skinned women in this case who have issues with dark-skinned women but procreate with dark-skinned black men like Derrick Jaxns. That is actually more common than dark-skinned women who go over the fence and swirl with white men and create biracial little girls. But nobody talks about it or shows any concern for these little dark-skinned girls that they are producing. Which is why I say when people make this argument against dark-skinned women about them producing light-skinned girls with white men, which again, the argument is stupid because you can produce a light-skinned girl with a black man, a light-skinned black man, or even a brown-skinned or darker-skinned man, even though it's less common. But I'm just saying, how black people are, genetics are all over the place, and sometimes you just don't know what you're going to get, right? But I'm just saying it's not about the kids. I don't feel it's about the kids. I think it's being mad about dark-skinned women swirling because y'all never bring up women like Danae who procreate with colorist dark-skinned men and fear having a dark-skinned daughter. And I can only imagine how she treated her or still may treat her daughter because she doesn't like the color of her skin. So I hope for her and her daughter's sake that she is really as delivered as she says she is. And I hope that she's in therapy because this is not good. None of this is good. And you can say what you want about dark-skinned women who swirl, but I don't see them saying on Instagram that they hate their light-skinned daughters. I'm sure it goes on. I'm not denying it. I'm not saying it never happens ever. But if anything, many black women put their light-skinned daughters on a pedestal and prize them. Because like I said, they would rather not have a dark-skinned daughter. And I've talked about this before, but black people, they would rather have a dark-skinned son if they're going to have dark-skinned children. They are scared, literally scared of having a dark-skinned daughter. And don't let her have kinky hair and full features. It's over. They don't want children who look like that. We know that about black people, right? So while I agree that you shouldn't be producing kids by certain men if you may have an issue with how they look, whether, they may potentially come out light skin, or dark skin. I think that Black women and biracial women who procreate with dark skinned men and may potentially have dark skinned daughters and children, but especially dark skinned daughters, I think they should be more included in that conversation. And even more so, in my opinion, because dark skinned women and girls receive the brunt of colorism. And I really do feel that there's more hatred towards little dark skinned girls, who have light skin or lighter skin mothers and dark skin fathers. And if you're not discussing Black people as well as biracial people producing the same dark skinned girls that they hate, even though they do it all the time, then you need to stop with your fake concern about dark skinned women producing light skinned girls that they hate, because we know it's fake concern and we know it's fake outrage. We see that you're being phony because this conversation never happens, literally. And usually it never happens unless it's somewhere like on my channel. And this is why I have this channel and I have these conversations, because nobody wants to talk about it. It's a lot of colorist, dark-skinned men out here producing dark-skinned daughters, and nobody wants to talk about it. And as far as Black men like Derrick Jaxns cheating with dark-skinned women, I am not saying this is their situation, him and Danae's situation. I don't know. I'm just speculating. But I have seen where women who are light-skinned or not dark-skinned, and maybe their spouse has told them that they don't prefer dark-skinned women, I have seen where those women can sometimes feel that they are safe, quote unquote safe, in the sense that their spouses will never cheat on them with a dark-skinned woman. And when they do, they're shocked by it. And they may start to feel less special than they did before. It's almost like, oh, well, I know he'll never cheat on me with a dark-skinned woman or take one seriously because he's more attracted to women like me. So when it happens over and over and over, they start to feel inadequate. And in this case with Danae, it's like she was obsessing over it. I don't know if that's the case here, but I'm just saying, I'm just speculating. I could be totally off base with that, but I have seen that before, right? And this goes beyond dark skin. It could be, with a skinny woman whose spouse cheats with thick women or fat women, even when the spouse said he wasn't into that, right? I mean, you were sitting there thinking you didn't have to worry about a fat woman taking your man, but it happened, right? And so, and I just say that to say that, ladies, being a man's preference won't stop him from sleeping with someone who's not. Again, it's what I said in the last video, men like variety. Like, they can tell you one thing and their actions show another. This is why I say it's important to watch what they do and not necessarily listen to what they say all the time, right? Never think you're too special to get cheated on. That is fairy tale thinking, ladies. It's fairy tale thinking. And even though, comparing and competing is normal and useful in some areas, this is just not one of them. If your husband cheats, it doesn't always mean that there's anything wrong with you. He just wants something different from you. He just wants a woman who don't look like you. So don't go tearing yourself apart because of that. I'm sure you might see a man that doesn't look like your husband or your boyfriend and find him attractive too. So, baby, you can do that too, is what I'm saying. Men come in all shades, shapes, and sizes, and you can like variety too. And let's be honest, women do. We like variety as well. Now, if you're dating a guy and he only seems to have dated one particular kind of woman, that may be a red flag. Now, I've talked about that in several videos, but I don't really find an issue with men, who have a variety. But that's another conversation. We're talking about cheating here, right? I'm just saying that, ladies, a man can tell you what he wants to tell you, but you being his preference isn't necessarily going to keep him faithful. And I'm not trying to scare you and say that every man is going to cheat on you or whatever. I'm just saying for you to think that is fairy tale thinking, okay? And you guys know that I talk a lot about healthy competition in the area of representation and promotion for dark-skinned women. I will always promote that because everyone is competitive in that area. Everyone puts their image first, no matter who they date, no matter who their friends are, who their family is, whatever. So I will never back down on that. But competing with other women for men who ain't shit, that's where I draw the line, ladies. Comparing yourself to women your serial cheating husband is screwing is unproductive because you will drive yourself crazy. Some of them are going to look better than you. Some of them are going to have a better body than you and vice versa. And I just feel like it's not you that needs to be fixed in that situation. It's your serial cheating husband who told you that he was going to be monogamous and going to be faithful. Like I said in the last video, I do question if men are naturally monogamous. A lot of you were saying, people are not naturally monogamous. And, I tend to kind of agree with that. I do. But what I'm saying is if a man chooses, if he's telling you that he's choosing to be monogamous and he doesn't honor that, then he's the problem. Not you, not your body, not your skin, or any of that. Okay? And in these posts, Danae was just writing how she self-medicated by drinking whole bottles of wine and stalking Derrick's mistresses and so many other, non-productive, destructive, and disturbing things. So again, I just hope for the sake of her and her daughter that she's getting the professional help that she needs and not just hiding behind religion and ignoring that she actually may need professional help. I hope that she's getting that if she, needs that. It does seem that she needs that. Again, I'm not a professional, so I don't know. But I'm saying based on this, it seems that she needed that or still needs that. Because these posts are not old, y'all. They're pretty recent, okay? They're from like February and stuff. So, yeah. I hope she's getting the help that she needs because this is honestly giving me Snapped vibes. So, we don't want her and her family to be a Lifetime movie or, a Snapped episode. We don't want that. But yeah, I just wanted to do a follow-up to the last video and kind of add my thoughts on the Instagram post and how I felt about that. I'm done here. Let me know what you think down in the comment section and I'll catch up with you in the next video.